This video is all about New Earth and what it means to shift timelines. Let's dive into it. New Earth is a beautiful and hopeful idea that the projected future through an accentuation of positivity will be a beautiful and abundant and loving place. And it will be an extension of all the good and all the wonder of the world that exists now. But it will be so much more than that. It will be more of all the good. It will be exponentially more of all the good. It is also the idea that, and this comes from Dolores Cannon and a few other sources, that reality is splitting mainly into two polarities, that the polarities on the planet during this time have gotten so extreme in the sense that the volume and the intensity of the positive have gone so far in one direction, and the intensity of the negative has gone so far in another direction that eventually they're getting pulled apart and can no longer coexist in the same environment. And so the idea of New Earth, I feel like, is an encouragement to choose a more positive perspective and a more positive, and to take action from a more loving place, not just once, but time and time again, because I think this is pitched to us, or it's we see it as a destination, but ultimately it already exists now. And one thing we have to think about is when we get there, then what? It's not a state of permanence, because we are either ascending or descending every moment, with every thought and every choice and every action and every perspective that we take. We're either staying where we are, or ascending or descending. And so because the intensity has gotten so great, staying where you are becomes a less desirable choice, because there's more resistance to it, especially as others in the environment start to raise frequency. Then where you are, the context of where you are will change as the world changes around you, and we attempt to stay the same. In fact, our relationship to the world still changes. We often see this in older generations. They try to say it the same way, and oh, the world's not just what it used to be, and then it comes from this perspective of it's like a negative perspective, because there's a refusal to ascend and grow. The idea of New Earth is that it's a beautiful, loving place and an abundant world, and I think it can mean so many different things to so many different people. But I think some things that I feel near and dear to me in the idea of New Earth is there's abundance and creativity for all. Less of the world, or none of the world, is in survival mode. We're able to operate from a place of creativity. We're much more tapped into our spiritual gifts, and we're much more tapped into our spiritual gifts. It's a place in our reality where we're truly tapped into our greater knowledge and synchronistic living, that people talk about 5D reality, where we are synchronistically and always in the right place at the right time, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. And so in that sense, everything is being taken care of exactly when it needs to be. Here's the thing, is that's already happening. But in this scenario, there is a greater knowledge that is happening, and there's a greater fluidity to it, and exactly what needs to happen when it needs to happen is coming from a place of much more joy and passion and positive emotion. Simply put, it's a place of much more positive emotion and flourishing, and much less struggle. Let's talk about timelines and different timelines and what that really means. When people are talking about jumping different timelines, we're basically saying we have changed the version of ourselves. We've changed the version of ourselves, and therefore we've changed literally the world that we're in, and a different world is being reflected back at us. The idea that there is only one reality, or there's an objective reality, is one that is not accounting for the idea of change, because change literally means a new reality is created. And so we tend to think about things linearly, as from birth to death, from past, present, future. But if you think about it, everything exists now, in the sense that you've always experienced now. But now has always, there's been sort of these changing of scenes and changing around now, but your perspective has always existed now. Whenever you look into the past, you're doing it now. Whenever you fantasize or imagine the future, you're doing it now. Now, what is the idea with changing timelines? Well, it's really about changing trajectories and changing versions of yourself. Changing timelines is really changing vibrations or changing dimensions. And if you change vibration or dimension, then a new version of you exists in the now, and then a new set of experiences come. So a new reflection. Even though it may seem like sometimes like literally the same people with the same names, and there's some sort of continuity, you literally, if you change timelines, change versions of yourself, change realities, you literally experience a new version of those people. They're literally not the same ones that you knew in the other timeline or the other experience. But here's the crazy part, is when you truly change timelines or change dimensions, your memory that is downloaded to you is seamless. So we think memory or past is this solidified, unchangeable thing, but when we truly change, our memory changes too. Our memory changes too, and it does so seamlessly that we don't even notice it. Mind-blowing. What's the value of knowing all this and changing timelines is it really gives us more flexibility in what we can imagine is possible for our lives. I think at its best, it gives us inspiration to know that no matter where we are or what's happening in our life or the perceived world around us, that we can always change, that there's always an amount of flexibility and ability to bring things into alignment and to move towards a more loving earth, towards new earth, whatever that means to you, your new earth. Your new earth can be a little bit different than my new earth, but there'll be a version of me there too to meet you, and vice versa. But what a beautiful thing that is. Timelines and new earth, just a reminder that everything is malleable and everything is changeable, and that the future is lighter and brighter and more wonderful and more connected and more loving than we could ever imagine. But let's imagine it anyways. Peace and love and blessings to you.